Here's why you aren't building muscle. The number one reason you aren't building muscle is because you aren't training all that hard. Sure, you may go to the gym maybe a few times a week, but when you are in the gym, are you actually training properly? Doing 5 to 8 sets, close till failure for every single muscle group. Is your form actually good? With control on all of your reps? Are you actively trying to get more reps than last week and trying to push more weight than you did last week? If you aren't doing these things, you are likely just going through the motions when you're in the gym. A good way to know if your sets are intense enough, then look at your last few reps. Do they take longer to perform than the first few reps that you did? Is it taking you longer to get the rep up than it was for the first few reps? If not, then you're probably not training that hard. You don't have to go till complete failure, but 1, 2, 3 reps of failure is a good point to be at. And failure is just when you cannot perform another rep despite maximum effort. Get your training on point, whether that is upping your intensity or perfecting your form. If you can improve your training in these few ways, you will see a lot more muscle being placed onto your body. The next reason you're likely not gaining that much muscle is because you're not eating enough and you're not eating right. So, to build muscle, you need to give calories to your body so it can convert that into muscle. You need to give it protein, you need to give it a good amount of calories so you can actually build the muscle. A lot of people focus on the training part, which is very important, but then when they go home, they just don't eat. You need to eat. You need to get enough calories in. You need to get enough of the right calories. You know, the calories that come from the real whole foods, you know, the meat, the eggs, the fruit, the vegetables, the nuts, the yogurt, whatever, those good foods for you. Get your calories from them, get a lot of them calories, and you will start building muscle. A lot of the reason a lot of people don't build muscle is just because they don't eat enough. And they might be eating enough, but they're eating the processed foods rather than the good whole foods, which are usually higher in protein. So I want to band this all together. Eat enough calories, so make sure, if you want to build muscle, stay in your calorie maintenance or be in a slight surplus, which is going to be the most beneficial for you if you're trying to build muscle, and get enough protein in, okay? Protein is such a key in building muscle. Without it, you're not going to be building muscle. So try to get 1 gram per pound of body weight. Just stick to that. If you're 100 pounds, you get 100 grams of protein. If you're 150 pounds, you're 150 grams of protein. Just stick to that. You will put on size, okay? And you actively need to track it. I remember I thought my protein intake was actually quite high until I actually started tracking it. And it was about 50 grams of protein a day. And it's only when you actively track your protein and really think about it, you'll start to get the high protein and you'll start to build more muscle. So the first thing you need to do is focus on your training, improve your training. The second thing you need to do is just improve your calorie intake, so more calories and higher quality calories. That is what is going to build your muscle, not eating, first of all, barely anything, and not eating the ultra processed foods such as the Pop-Tarts, the crumble cookies, whatever. Just a disclaimer. My aesthetic body course is in the link in the description. It teaches you exactly how to build the aesthetic physique and get in the best shape of your life. Go check it out. Link in the description. The third thing you are probably doing, which is keeping you small and making you not build much muscle, is just simply not giving yourself time and not being consistent. You have to remember, this journey takes time. As a natural lifter who is trying to build muscle, you are going to be at this for months, years on end to really get good results. Depending on your genetics also, it could be longer, it could be shorter. So please, be, first of all, consistent. So, make sure you're actually going 4 times a week, which you promised you said you would, or 5 times a week, like you promised you said you would, and actually do that for the whole year. Actually go 5 times a week. Don't just go 1 week, I'll go 2 times a week. Oh, the other week I'll go 4 times a week. This week I'll go 6 times a week to make up for the last few weeks. Just stick to the 5 times a week, the 4 times a week, however many days you've said you're going to go. Stick to that, all right? Don't constantly miss sessions. I know there's going to be times where you just miss sessions. You might be a bit injured. You might have, a funeral to attend to, whatever. It's fine, okay? Don't train if you can't train, but just get back into it. focus on being consistent again, and just give yourself more time, okay? Building muscle takes, genuinely years. So make sure you actually give yourself a year, 2 years to really see great results. Don't expect to build loads and loads of muscle in 1 or 2 months. You likely won't. It's going to be months, like lots of months, 8, 9 months, years until you really see some good muscle growth. That's just the truth, because if you think about it, if muscle growth was easy, everyone would be jacked, but they're not, because it's difficult. Everyone's been in the gym before, tried to lift weights for a month and just quit, and they're not muscular because they're not consistent. The people who are actually muscular are the people who have stayed consistent and actually go to the gym in the allotted times they've said they would. The last reason you are not building much muscle at all is because you're not bulking. Bulking is the best way to build muscle, simple as that. But bulk in the right way. I don't mean to go and dirty bulk and go and just cheat on your diet and think you're going to be putting on loads of size and muscle. You're not. You're just going to be putting on a lot of fat. I mean bulk in a slight surplus. So find out your calorie maintenance, go 300 to 500 calories over it, and don't be putting on 2-3 pounds of fat a week on, or 2 or 3 pounds of weight on a week. Put on maybe half a pound, a pound a week, all right? And go up slowly until you get to around 20% body fat. That is when your bulk is done and you cut back down to, 10 to 15% wherever you lay at or wherever you want to get to. And then just continue doing that. It would take maybe 8 to 12 weeks of bulking, 8 to 12 weeks of fat loss dieting, and you just constantly do that until you've got to a point where you've built a lot of muscle. Most of the muscle you see on me now is from bulking. It's not actually from, being in my maintenance and training. It's from the big bulks I've done where I've given my body more calories, I've given my body more energy, more nutrients. That is when you are going to be building the most muscle. For me personally, I always try to do a clean bulk, always eating the real whole foods. So, the real whole foods. Try your best to get that as much as possible, especially when you're bulking, because you're just going to be putting on more muscle and not as much fat. And when you end your bulk, you won't be looking horrible. You'll have a little bit of fat, but that's completely fine. You'll shed that off in a few weeks, and yeah, you'll be looking great. My aesthetic body course is in the link in the description. It teaches you exactly how to build the aesthetic physique and get in the best shape of your life. Go check it out. Link in the description.